how have you been growing your ability to think, Justin?
Well, I would say this is an awesome question. I think that as I've gotten better at thinking, I've realized that I'm not good at thinking. Maybe is the way I would say it. So like, I live in an echo chamber professionally, where I'm consistently put in a room where I'm expected to or supposed to be an expert, right? It's like the guy that knows the most in the room about whatever we're talking about. And the more people that EMA has hired, the more I've learned that I don't know everything. And I know that, but like I'm reminded, maybe is the right term, that I don't know everything. But from a personal standpoint, you have to look at what matters most to you. And that level of thinking, that to me, that has been something I've enjoyed reading a bit about, like being more present, being more aware of my weaknesses, being more of what do people see when they look at you? And that level of thought is something that's really hard to do when you're trying to accomplish things, right? Like I'm goal oriented. I'm like, get the hammer out and the pickaxe and dig the hole, and I don't care what anybody thinks, get out of my way. And that works. I mean, look at being a bulldozer is super effective when you need to move stuff. And I don't regret having that trait, I think, in my personality, but holy cow, when you take a step back holistically and look at like who you are as a whole person, I've run over a lot of people I didn't need to run over. And I think it's done, I wouldn't say damage, but it's stuff that maybe I could have done better. And so to me, thinking is let's look at the landscape of, you want to go here. And to get there, you don't just go here to here. I mean, there's, all these pathways between here and there, and you need to look at the path rather than the destination and the starting point. And again, I try to be honest about it. I'm really bad at that stuff, but I'm at least I'm aware of it, and I want to get better at it. But man, I get so fascinated by stuff that I'm not good at, because it's like, I figure all this other stuff out. I can figure this out, and if I get good at thinking, I think that I'll be a really unstoppable person personally, as much as I think I can be professionally. And professionally, again, it's just solving problems and answers and stuff that I think I do on a day-to-day basis. Personally, holy cow, that's a whole can of worms with how to be a good dad and be a good husband and support people and be there and not, still travel. And if I ever figure that out, man, I'll be a Superman. I'm hoping someday I'll figure that out.
Thomas, over the years, how have you been sharpening and expanding your ability to think that you can share with us so that we can learn from the expert like you?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is that learning and thinking to me belong together, right? So for me, I think one of the people who think more deeply and think better are people who are learners, So you could be spending 6 hours on Instagram or TikTok or whatever and watching, people fall in puddles or cats that jump from trees. I mean, that's fine. You could do that. Or you could be reading a book. You could be reading a story. You could be learning about how nature works, how humans work, right? So for me, learning to think is learning, first of all. I think the second thing about thinking that I really believe in is focus. And by the way, I'm struggling with that. So it's a lifelong learning experience. What's important to me, the most important good that helps us think is time. And for me, the question is, on your schedule, where's your thinking time? Just look at your schedule. Tell me when you're thinking. So for me, focusing on that in a deliberate fashion is important. One way for me to think is to write. Like, write down a thought, kind of Another way to think is to teach, right? If I can explain it to you, I know I've understood it. Frankly, not before. It's really hard to be sure that you understood a problem if you've not taught it to others. But the focus is the mental state. Of course, there's practitioners who teach you how to do that, from your side of the world, right? Whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation techniques, right? Calming your mind is a good thing. My version of that is I go outdoors a lot. I go run. I move my body. Thinking also means to be in a healthy body, right? So for me, that's the other thing that really matters. But really giving your time the focus that your mind the focus that it takes. There's a final point that matters, and it's mattering differently for different people. I think well with other people. So some of my best ideas happen in the presence of other people. Not everybody is the same. There are people that need to be for 24 hours by themselves, then they have the best ideas. Or they have understanding. Again, I need my alone time too, but if it comes to thinking of new ideas, often it has to do with interaction of trusted individuals other than me. Also people who think differently than me. So that's another element of it. I mean, so those are the pieces. I just, the rule that I really always say, whether it's about thinking or about other things, show me your calendar and I'll tell you what's important to you. So if you say my goal is to do X and Y, your calendar does not show that. It's not important to you. You just talk about it. And so if your goal is to improve your thinking and your knowledge, show it when you do that in your life. It takes time to get better at that. Don't care what it is. Whether you want to get better in sports, whether you want to get better in science, thinking, get better learning about other people, it needs to be time that you spend. Time is the most precious good for everything.
Wow. So, General Duke, how have you been improved your ability to think over the years?
I think with more knowledge that you get, and the older you get more maturity, and you can analyze situations more rationally than now I can see that happens to me in my life as I've gotten maturity and more experience, and I can relate these experiences to my present experience and apply the lessons that I've tried to learn in the past. And I think life is a building block of experience and relationships. And I found now that since I've become a Christian and a follower of Jesus, I pray more about, Lord, what should I do? And where should I go? And how should we operate in our life, in our relationships? And I've never heard the voice of God in my ears, but I had these impressions in my heart. So it's like God's Spirit speaking to our spirit in our heart. It says, go this way. You have an inclination that you ought to do this. And when sometimes I miss it, but most of the time it works out. So and Dottie and I, we pray a lot about decisions and what we should do and where we should go and what we should say, and it's all of these things that make us one, if you will, with God. And so it's been an exciting journey for the last 40 years or so. Yeah.
Wow.
So